Next, I'll show you how to solve the ALEKS problem. Draw the structure for the conjugate base of the acid shown. Be sure to include all lone pair and formal charges. So what ALEKS is going to do is it's going to have a acid and it wants us to draw the conjugate base for it. Now, again, this is a refresher of material that you learned in Chem 2. And then I have some simple rules when I solve this. And it is that the base of an acid will have one less hydrogen, and the bond that's connected the hydrogen and the other element will be returned to the other element as lone pairs. So in this case, when hydrogen disappears, this bond right here is going to be returned back to chlorine as lone pairs. And then next up, I had a periodic table up just so we get a quick refresher on how to identify charges. So first we'll start with hydrochloric acid, which is a strong acid. We'll just go ahead and scratch off the hydrogen because now it's being donated away as acid is a donor. Next, we have this bond that connected hydrogen and hydrochloric acid. Again, it's going to be returned back to the chlorine right there, and it's going to be returned as lone pairs. So once it's returned, we're going to have chlorine. We're going to have a lone pair here, lone pair right here, lone pair right here. And then this chlorine that was donated back, or kind of this bond that goes back, is going to return back as lone pairs. And so now that leaves 8 electrons around the chlorine. And next, we just find the charge of what the chlorine is. Again, our starting number, we look at where it falls at on the periodic table, what group number. So chlorine falls under group 7A. So we'll start with 7. We'll then count the electrons around chlorine and the bonds around it. And it's really just electrons. So we see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll subtract 8 from 7. And that's going to equal -1. So this chlorine right here is going to have a negative charge of 1. And so we're going to make sure we include that negative symbol right there. Next, we find the conjugate base of water. So again, kind of the same system before. The hydrogen disappears. We can scratch that out as needed. And the bond is returned back to that oxygen. So now we draw it out like this. The oxygen, it already had these 4 bonds here, but now it's going to have 2 more. So now that's going to be 6 total. And it's still going to be connected to this hydrogen. So we're going to have OH right here. Next, we see where oxygen is on the periodic table. It's under group 6 alpha. So we'll start with a 6 to make sure, double check the charge on it. So start with a 6, and then we'll subtract based on the electrons and lone pairs around it. So we have 6 electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have 1 bond right here, which would be number 7. So that'd be 6 minus 7, and that equals -1. So for this OH molecule that we have here, which is the oxygen attached to the hydrogen, it's going to have, we're just going to go ahead and put a negative symbol right where the oxygen is, and that should be right in ALEKS. Again, if this video helped you or your classmates, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.